Hello everyone, I'm Jeff Standley with Standley Handcraft, and today we're going to talk about the first of the year and the things that you want to do now. And starting with that is going to be farmers markets. All right, so I figured for the next week or so, I'm going to go through and talk about all the things that you want to get into, the things that you should be thinking about as far as the new year's coming up, things that you should look out for going into the spring candle season. And of course, farmers markets jumped to the beginning of the list on this one just because I got my first email for a farmers market that's coming up, and they usually start probably right around the beginning of April, somewhere right around in there, end of March, beginning of April. And I wanted to get this one done first because the sooner that you can sign up for a farmer's market, the more of a guarantee that you could have to actually get into the one that you want. But before we get into that, I'm testing out a couple different mics. I'm still trying to get the studio dialed in. So I've got a mic on the camera right here. I've got this mic right here. I'm still dialing this one in. This one should sound amazing when it gets done, but I'm still going through testing out some equipment. I've got to get some new wires. They're still coming on the way. So I'm going to test this mic and this mic, and we'll see which one does better for today's video. All right, so like I said, I just got my first email yesterday in the email, and it came up and it was for a farmer's market that I applied to last year. I didn't get in, but as the year kind of went on, they actually emailed me through the year and said, hey, we've got some open spots. And obviously it was because a lot of people just weren't showing up to the farmer's market. Some of the vendors just couldn't get in there. Just all kinds of different reasons. So I didn't actually get in that one, and it was mainly because I had just started selling candle supplies, and like I was saying in the other video, that one started to take a lot more of my time, so I just didn't have time for some of the farmers markets. But jumping into this year, farmers markets are definitely something that I would like to get into, and there's a lot of people that watch these videos. It's becoming a topic on the DIY Facebook group, the candle making group, and if you're not in there, I have a link for it in the video description down below. But farmers markets, everybody wants to get in one, and the thing that you need to be concerned about or aware of is that not all farmers markets are going to be that easy to get into. So the sooner that you can sign up for a farmers markets, the more likelihood you will have to at least be seen first, so that if they do have openings, they'll go to you first. Now for the farmers market email that I just got yesterday, I'm going to need to go through. I should have done it yesterday, but I'm still kind of on the fence about getting into this farmers market, or if I even want to. But I think I'm going to go ahead and submit my application, and it's like a $20 fee to get into this one. So I think I'm going to submit my application just so that I have it in there and I can say yes or no down the line. But this is one of those things that you want to start paying attention to right now, because there's only so many vendors that they let into farmers markets. And that's not going to say all of them, but the good farmers markets, or most farmers markets that I've been to, they only allow a certain amount of vendors. So they only have 1, 2, or 3, depending on the size, maybe 3 or 4 of any type of vendor. So whether or not you sell jewelry or candles in our case, they only allow a couple vendors in there. And this is exactly what you want to look out for. You don't want to get into a vendor show where you're going to show up and there's a potential audience of maybe 4,000 or 5,000 people, and they've got 14 candles vendors in there. You're not going to get seen that much. If there's candle vendors up towards the front or like the main entrance, most people are going to go to them first, and by the time they get to you, you're number 12 in the list. You're not going to get many sales. So you definitely want to look out for a farmer's market that has limited spots available for vendors. And you want to make sure that you sign up for these right now. And the reason you want to sign up for them right now is, again, they only allow a certain amount of people in there. So they want to fill these up as quick as possible. They want to get guaranteed slots in there so that they can basically go through and plan, because a lot of these places, they rent out buildings or they rent out parks. The one that I did a couple years ago, they rented out a full park. So they want to get as many people in there as quick as possible. So the sooner that you can sign up, it's not really a guarantee that you're going to get into one, but you definitely have a higher likelihood to get into one. The other reason that you want to sign up for these right now is if you do get accepted into one, you're going to need to know what you need for those. And the farmer's market usually has a list of things like if there's electricity there, or if you're near bathrooms or the front entrance or the back entrance, you'll want to plan for these things. So the sooner that you know that you're going to have a spot in one of these, you can start planning. You can start getting your tables. You can start getting your tents. And having said that, I do have a full tent review coming here in the next week or so. I'm just waiting for it to show up, and I'll show you guys this new tent. But if you're doing any type of farmer's market, they're a must-have. So you want to make sure that you get everything, or you know to get everything that you're going to need for the upcoming market. Now, as far as getting into a farmer's market, you definitely want to take a look and see what's around your area, or if you have anything within your area, or even a short drive away from your area. And you can do that by just simply Googling farmer's market in your city, town, or whatever, and they usually come right up. If they don't come up, or if you don't see anything, you can usually go to your city's page. And again, just Google your main city's court page or just a city page, and something will usually come up, and they have an events calendar, which will usually list a lot of the farmers markets or markets that are around the area. Now, I will say, just because you find a farmers market and you sign up the first day that the email is sent out, it's no guarantee that you're actually going to get a spot. Some farmers markets will go by first come, first serve. The first people to, or the first vendors to actually submit the emails will get in there. But for the most part, they try to get vendors in there that they know will stick around for a couple years. So that's why, again, it's very important that you get in there soon, because there are certain vendors that they will allow or invite back before they let you in. I know for the farmers market I did a couple years ago in the Puyallup area, it was a market that they had a couple vendors in there. So it took me about 2 years to actually get a spot in this farmers market. And of course, once a spot came open, I was next on the list and I got in there. And I also made sure that I went to the page. I was checking it every single day, because a lot of the farmers markets pages, they don't tell you when the signups are coming. So I was just in the website every single day, checking it, if not every other day, checking to see when the signups were. And as soon as the website said that vendor applications were open, I went ahead and submitted it to kind of help guarantee my spot if they had another opening. Now, if you do end up on a farmers market page that doesn't really list anything, I would go through some things to look out for. Is go through and kind of see what kind of vendor event it is or a farmers market it is, and they usually have a farmers market or a vendor list that'll show you everybody that's been in there for the last couple of years, so that you can kind of plan around that. I know when I did my first one, I went through their vendor directory list and I just started reaching out to some of the other vendors, something that was kind of close to me, like bath bombs or jewelry or something like that, and started to ask them like how big the crowd was, what was the audience like that kind of came through there, and see if they had anything that they could give me as far as like demographics, who's coming through, the days and weekends to maybe stay away from. And by that I mean, if it's a day like 100-degree weather, how many people show up, or if it's a rainy day, how many people show up, because a lot of these events and farmers markets, you can kind of pick and choose which dates you go to. And of course, when it comes to candles, the really hot days you might want to stay away from, and that's exactly what I did with a lot of these. Anytime it was near 100 degrees or over 100 degrees, which was only a weekend or two for us in the Seattle area, I tended to stay away from those just because I didn't want my candles out in the hot sun sweating. And it was also a time where a lot of people didn't really show up to the farmers market, so I really wasn't missing anything. All right, so that's pretty much it with this one. I will go through and do a kind of a full farmers market checklist if that's something that people want. So if you'd like to know what to look for when it comes to farmers markets, please let me know in the comment section down below, and I'll do another video that'll go through and I'll talk about everything that I take. And of course, if there are things that you take or are things that are an absolute must when you go to a farmers market, please let us know in the comment section down below, and I'll go ahead and add that to the next video. And like I said earlier in the video, a lot of people are already talking about this, or they're beginning to talk about it more now that it's the beginning of the year, and that's the discussion on farmers markets in the DIY candle making group over on Facebook. So if you're not a member there, I've included a link in the video description down below. So go ahead and jump over there, jump into the conversations that are already going, and you can ask a lot of people who have been doing the farmers markets for years what they take or what they would look out for, kind of what scents to take, what products to stay away from maybe. And also in the next couple of weeks, I'm going to be talking about a bunch of different things now that it's the beginning of the season, and kind of get a jump on the spring and summer candle season. So I'll be doing a few videos over the next couple of weeks just talking about things to look out for, maybe supplies to kind of stock up on, and some other things that you can do for your candle business as we start to take a little bit of a sales dip over the next several months. All right, so I hope that video was helpful. If I missed anything, please let me know in the comment section down below, and I'll try to update that and bring that into the next video. And of course, if you liked the video, give it a thumbs up, hit subscribe, and also hit the bell notification if you want to be notified of when these videos actually hit YouTube. But for now, that's it. And please let me know if you got into a farmer's market. Please let me know in the comment section down below how quickly you jumped on it and if you got into one. And we'll see you in the next video.